悲霜打中。
So far, I've spoken in Yiddish, Spanish, Russian, English. I'm still waiting for somebody to come up in Polish. Most paper cuts have a function, Jewish paper cuts. A mizrach is a particularly common one, and it's usually hung in a house or a synagogue on the eastern wall facing Jerusalem. There are paper cuts that you make when a woman is about to give birth, called a kimpit brieder, and it's to ward off the evil eye. So there are various types, and over the last 30 years, various artists have started to revitalize the art form and have started to interpret it in different ways.
So that makes 8 chords, and when we knot them, they have 5 sets of knots, and the 8 and the 5 come together to make 13, and the word tzitzit itself is numerologically 600, so that represents the 613 commandments. And we do this because the Torah says, make fringes on the corners of your garments so you will remember my commandments. So the rabbis had to figure out what that meant, and what should we be doing in order to do that, and so this is what they came up with.
Klezmer comes from 2 words, clay and zemer, 2 Hebrew words, vessel of song. A lot of what I teach is very traditional. Some of it is drawn from the Hasidic community, which is a slightly different flavor. And what they would do with one, just men or just women, I kind of do with everybody. So that makes it a little post-traditional.
Well, I think it's a good idea because all the Chinatown and Jewish neighborhoods are pretty much one now. Chinatown is actually the more dominant, and there's very little left of the Jewish neighborhoods. I think it's a very important thing. This area has a lot of history where different groups of immigrants have come here at different points in time, and so since we have this shared space in common, it's important to bring both groups of people together.
Charges people up. People really kind of connect with it. And especially doing something like this where it's not just a Jewish population, but you get like all kinds of folks, your whole New York, kaleidoscope of people.
I've been coming here, I believe this is close to my 10th year here, I'm not sure. We have here myself showing Jewish artwork, religious artwork, as it can be called, and right next to me in a little while will be sitting a Chinese calligrapher. So what they try to do here is show the different customs, and the work that I do is based on tradition which goes back thousands of years. One very interesting thing I wanted to show, since we are in the Eldridge Street Synagogue, just a few weeks ago a family brought to me a Torah scroll that they had found in an old synagogue that they're trying to renovate. They brought me an old Torah scroll that they wanted me to look at and see if it was worth repairing and to evaluate it and see what type of condition it is. It turns out the Torah scroll itself is, I would guess, 150 to 200 years old. One thing that I found most interesting, this cover, these are all handmade, also you can tell the age on it. It has a small label from the manufacturer, if you're able to zoom in on it. Right here it says the name of the Judaica shop, and it has the address, as I believe it's 33 Eldridge Street, right down the block. It's important for the Jewish community and the Chinese community to be together in such an event, and I think it's one reason, the biggest reason of all, is because we're neighbors. And I personally don't live in this community, I live in New Jersey, but when I do come in and I see Jewish stores right next to the Chinese stores and the people walking down the street, all walks of life and all different histories and stories from families and where they came from, and to be able to do something like this, to come together and as neighbors and as friends in this type of atmosphere, I think it's a beautiful setup and a beautiful way to get to know each other and to get to know each other's traditions.
And is that at all apparent in the Torah? Is there anything about, I'm just wondering.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
That's what I was thinking.
Can't get more direct than that, I guess.
Yeah.
And certainly it's important to, you live with other people. We don't want to be isolated. We want to get to know our neighbors. We want to keep our traditions, but we want to appreciate everybody else's also.